Welcome back, my brave and beautiful humans, to another episode of Soul Hygiene. I am so excited to have Miss Luba here with me today. Um, we were talking beforehand and we just about what soul hygiene's about. I've mentioned it before about how, in this generation, there just seems to be so many victims, either of circumstance or self-made victims. And we're trying to, you know, give hope to people that you don't have to stay a victim. You can be victorious over this. And, the trials that you're facing, you can be triumphant over. So, after all that, we had a conversation and I found out that Miss Luba, um, she has been to retreats, she has written books, like these books behind her, you know, but she also is into helping women. She's into, you know, letting people know, especially women, that life is worth living. And I am really looking forward to hearing what she has to say. And I hope that our listeners will just stay tuned because she's an amazing human being. We've talked like once before. And so today I'm just so excited to share her with the world. And so I'm going to turn it over to Miss Luba so she can just tell us all about herself and her journey and her adventures. Thank you so much for
Sure.
being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It has been my passion now for a few years to help women shine at whatever it is they do. Uh, but in order to shine, you have to be in a good space. You have to be
Mhm.
healthy. You have to be in a very healthy state mentally. And I had written a memoir called Life Worth Living, and I was inspired to write it when my older daughter, and I don't know if I shared that with you, was diagnosed with cancer. And
Oh.
it was, that time sucked. It was at the beginning of the pandemic, and it was my way to keep kind of my sanity.
Mhm.
But what happens when you see kids, sick kids for months, you have a different perspective on life. You start rethinking pretty much like all your
Mhm.
choices. And my background in general is back in the day. I studied computer science, undergrad and grad, so I'm still in the corporate world. But I've witnessed over the years a lot of stress with people, a lot of, you know, grinding. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's like 8 to 7 and it's all day long, um, and, and nothing good comes out of it usually. And when I wrote this memoir, I started talking a lot about like what is your journey to a life worth living? Like what's worth it to you? Um, and I also kind of went through this journey where people would ask me over the years, like, what makes you so calm? Like when you're in the corporate world and there are deadlines and something
Mhm.
doesn't go according to the plan or the clients start calling in, and even those with good leadership skills supposedly, and they lose it. And I tend to stay very calm even in like the most, what people would consider, stressful situations. Um, and while I was writing my memoir, I tried to make it around, not just sharing my family stories, but it's about having a positive outlook on life no matter what life throws your way. And I make this reference. I talk about like having a library of crap or the library of like life punches.
Yeah.
And what happens is when something happens, you can look at it in multiple ways. Now, you can't control what life throws your way, but you can control your actions and what you do with it. And so I wrote about the World War II and my grandparents and like the tough times that they went through, and this journey of building resilience,
Wow.
because stress comes from us reacting to certain things and our triggers. And so I talked a lot about my immigration at the age of 14. I had to leave my father and grandmother behind. It wasn't my choice and I missed them very much. So like this little things, and then my daughter's, sickness, and I compare to my library of crap that I already have. And most of the time in comparison, whatever comes my way, it's like, okay, I've dealt with worse. But as I started having certain conversations with women in various contexts, like I mentor women, I coach, career coaching including, and some conversations come up, and I've been exposed to women who have dealt with a lot of horrible things, losing children, being abused. And so my view on how I want to help women also changed.
Mm.
And so when I have we can talk for hours as far as like my path from how I started organizing retreats. But the last one I organized in Tulum, Mexico, and my energy, like my batteries were so dangerously low that
Mm.
I actually went to a retreat as an attendee, which was a healing retreat. And I met people that are very different from me. They are energy healers, they are into Reiki. We went to ceremonies like Temazcal, which is a heat lodge with, this incredible woman leading the ceremony where you do a lot of release. Like you forgive yourself, you forgive your abusers, or maybe not even abusers.
Mm.
Like some of the things that come to your mind, it's like your resentment towards a grandparent that said something to you, 40 years ago. Like, because we hold on to all of these things. So when you were talking about the soul hygiene and all of it, I was like, oh my God, like that's where I am. And I think our call was in between me going as an attendee and me taking
Yeah.
women back to this jungle retreat center doing similar things. And we're like, okay, we need to record this conversation because in order for us, even though like in general, my vision was to have my masterminds all for professional business women, women in the tech space. It's about upskilling and boosting credibility and showing up as a thought leader. But I learned along the way that unless we are in a very good space
Mhm.
mentally, it's about, mind and body and spirit and all of it, we can't create. We don't care about promotions. None of it matters
Right.
unless we're in a good space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so, in summary, that's what it was. And I noticed how in the last one, even the energy, like over the 4 days, it was very different because I had an energy healer. I had a couple of people who were extremely spiritual. And so, yes, I had some people from the tech world and from the corporate world and high overachievers. Let's do this. Let's do this. Do. And some people were like, let's just be.
Right.
And like I think what made it the most beautiful was the combination of both and this healthy balance of let's be spiritual, let's do a bit of soul hygiene and release and re-energize and heal from whatever it is you may be going through, and then we can create, and then we can talk about the offers that you have in your coaching programs. Let's talk about whatever else you have
Mhm.
going on, but that has to come first.
Yeah. I love that because I know I've said and I think I said it to you right before we started talking, it's a matter of filling our cup. Like we can't give from an empty cup. There's nothing to give. And I use that analogy so many times with my listeners because I think it's very important, if we're not forgiving, if we're not acknowledging, if we're not releasing, if you know, it starts with us.
Absolutely.
It all starts with us. And that's I was so happy that we had so much in common with what work you do and what retreat you go to. That's why I was excited that we were gonna talk when you got back because I was like, "Oh, I wanna know, like, how it went and what she did." But I was gonna tell you that it's a talent to be patient and not get frustrated or overwhelmed immediately. Um, so that's a great talent. I can see why people look to you to do things, because I know for me, like I think I have patience, but I can get overwhelmed with things and just be like, "Okay, I need to shut down." Like, I have nothing else to give. Don't talk to me for a couple days. I can't handle it right now. Um, but, before I started my intentional healing journey, it was, "Don't talk to me for a week." Don't it was, because you have all of that built up inside of you. And releasing it is one of the best things I do every single day. And that's what I always encourage people. Soul hygiene is not just a once a month thing. It's an every single day. We wash our hair, we brush our teeth, we comb our hair, we put nice clothes on. We do that every single day. There is no reason why we should not be scrubbing our souls, acknowledging, releasing every single day, and starting our day out right. So I love what you do, and it's we have so much in common that I feel like we could do like 10 more episodes just
We,
talking about
yeah, we
things.
absolutely could. One thing that you just said that kind of made me think. So this morning, I recorded a podcast, which I'll be sharing shortly, with someone who I met at the retreat where I was the attendee. So it's hard to believe I only met this woman a couple of weeks ago, but she's like my soul sister. And like we couldn't be more different. Like our backgrounds are very different. First time I met her and she spoke about the energy and the frequency, and she's a healer and I'm from the tech space. But
Right.
but what I noticed was like when I was near her, like I was calm even more than I usually am, and whatever emotional pain I was experiencing at the moment was just not as strong. And then I was re-energized, and I invited her right there and then. A couple of days into it, I invited her to join me in my retreat in Tulum. And she got there, and I was noticing how, you know, I was feeling just because there were many changes. Like when you organize an event, things will go wrong. Like the
Mhm.
massage therapist cannot find the retreat center because it's in the middle of nowhere, it's in a jungle. The dinner is ready, but we're still recording something. And so like lots of things going on. It's very easy to I can keep calm, but it's very easy to lose your energy. And if previously, like most of the events I've organized, I love it all. It brings me so much joy and I have a lot of energy, but it is drained by the end. Like 4 days into it, then leave me alone for a couple of days. But
Right.
I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it. I actually felt at peace as if I went on vacation, even though I was on for 4 days. And I had this aha moment how we all need coaches and mentors to make up for whatever it is that we don't have yet. And
Mhm.
so I can help her with being more visible on social media and getting her offers clear and help her with the income coming in and whatever it is. Like I am a doer and I can do, but I also need somebody. Like I don't meditate. I don't know how to release. My way of healing and re-energizing is take a 20-minute nap, have a nice meal, maybe a massage. Like I didn't know anything else. And when she did Reiki on me, and we went to Temescal again during my event. She went the second time. I learned that there's so many other tools that I am not even aware of,
Mhm.
because we tend to be like, oh, people who are too spiritual or people who are too this or people who are too that, like, oh, they're not my people. I don't speak their language. And what I do lately is I, first of all, open my own mind to receive
Mhm.
from others that are on a very different journey, have been. And so they
Right.
know things that I don't. Um, and I encourage them to also embrace help from others. So, my whole point, like what brings me the most joy when I organize events, and I have another one coming up in 2 weeks, call me crazy, but I planned like 2 within a few weeks.
Oh my
I'm not going
goodness.
to do that again, but I did it. Um, and I bring people from different backgrounds, like different ages. We have like 35 to 65,
Wow.
all walks of life. And the point is, we all learn from each other. And that's why I often call it retreat slash mastermind, because everyone has something to share and we
Hmm.
definitely all can learn. And that's what, when I see that happen and I see those aha moments and the healing and the connections and the relationships for life and continuous support, I am so fulfilled. And to me, it's like I want everybody, not just women, but I work with, all genders from, 9 to 5 during my full-time job. So whatever I do after hours and weekends, I just love helping women. And I love showing them, helping them a way to find their journey to be as fulfilled as I am
Right.
now.
Right. I absolutely love it. You're not just gonna have to excuse me. My allergies are just so bad lately.
Oh, I thought
Oh.
you were just crying from all the things I shared.
Um, no, I absolutely love that. And man, you're such a blessing to me because when I first started Soul Hygiene as a podcast, a lot of what you said was what I wanted. I have all different kinds of people on here who do different things, who have different journeys, different adventures. No one's healing is the same. No one's journey and adventure is the same. It can be similar, but everyone has a different story to share. And that's why I'm like, your story is important. Whatever you have been through in life, it is important for someone to hear. I hid my story for 25 years, and it almost killed me. I mean, to be honest, you know? Um, but once I shared it, it was almost like this, ooh, like, I can't even explain the burden and the whatever it was inside of me was just gone, and I was almost like a different person. You know? And so I always encourage my listeners and people who, I want to have on the show, just be vulnerable, just be who you are. Tell your story. You don't have to tell it all, but tell it because it's going to make you feel better. And it's almost like your own release
Hmm.
when you tell your story. Um, and I will tell you this, I didn't meditate for years. So I was the same type of person. I would lay down, take a nap, take a hot bath or, do those sorts of things. And so when I created my own meditation technique on the, 5 questions in the English language that everyone, knows, um, that worked for me. And it was simple. It was, you know, something that I could do in a matter of minutes. Soul hygiene's for everyone,
Yeah.
every single person. So I'm excited that we have so much in common because I think we're going to be we're going to be talking more in the future.
I have a feeling there's so many tools probably in our combined, you
Yeah.
know, toolboxes. One of the things you mentioned, so like you came up with the 5 questions, right? Like you did something that helped you. I met a woman who went through domestic abuse for years. Like not an exciting story at all. Like wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. And when I talk about, because I've written a couple of books, and one I did it as a memoir, it was part of healing. Another was very strategic business related book, the digital transformation that I did for business for the corporate world. But the memoir gave me a lot of healing as far as dealing with my daughter, like not to lose my marbles watching my daughter going through chemo. And the way I did it was I did it over the summer. And because some people make this assumption, like, oh, I can't write a book, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. And like, I'm an immigrant. English is not my first language. Like, it's not. Now we have all these tools, and there are people that can edit things. You can do it. The most important thing is not the actual book that you publish, But as my publishing coach said, it's the person you become after you publish it. And one of the ways that allowed me to do it in a very healing way was I bought, I think it was like $60 or so, a little recorder on Amazon, and I would go walking. I don't call it a walking meditation. I now know it's also a thing, but I would just go, and I would wake up early in the summer before it got too hot. I'm in Boston, and I would walk, and I would just dump ideas, and I would just record things, and I would share my feelings about everything. I mean, once you start rolling, I talked about immigration and how I cried in the pillow for the first 3 years, and how was made fun of because I didn't speak English, and how I missed my father. Like all of it came out. And because my father also passed away like 3 months before my daughter got diagnosed, and so
Yeah,
there was a lot like going on.
a lot going on.
And so I suggested to this woman, just give it a shot, experiment, get this record, not your phone, because phone has notifications, it can be distracting. Just a little recording device, and just dump all your ideas. Talk about everything, your ex-husband did or didn't do, or whatever, like whatever things that bothered you, just say it. That by itself will already help you. But
Yes.
then how I can help is I can take this, whatever you record, and I can help you structure it in a way that it can be a self-help book, memoir, whatever that may be, for you to hold and touch, because I still believe in like outcomes, um, because it's also extremely fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
To actually hold something in your hands. Um, so that's just one way, but I love gathering and sharing all various tools. Like whatever worked for anyone ever, there's a good chance that there's somebody out there, right, that can
Yeah.
leverage it. And it's important for people to share their message and their tools. Like how did they overcome whatever thing they
Yeah.
had to overcome?
I completely agree. Completely. And that's I always believe that if we're not learning every day, what are we doing? Every single day we should be learning and growing. And I have learned so much since I started the podcast since last year because I've talked to so many different kinds of people. And I get so energized because, oh my goodness, I did not know that. And oh, I'm going to try that. And some of it has helped. And then you never know that person may help somebody
Mm-hmm.
listening
Mm-hmm.
and that's my ultimate goal. So it's so amazing how much you do. And I love that you're in the retreat kind of business. I guess you do it as a side thing, but I don't know how you do back-to-back ones. That's
So again,
have
this was an
fun.
experiment, right? This
Yeah.
was an experiment. I didn't know, and so I was learning. And because I knew that my 9 to 5 might pick up at the end of April, I did a lot of prep for both events over the 6 months. And so pretty much like the one in Nashville, it's all set. Like, you know, like one person had to bail out, but then another person said they'll come. And so there's still like little things here and there. But for the most part, like it's done. And I learned that going forward, I will not do that. I'm gonna have 4 per year, once per quarter, and each one with a certain theme. And so, like the November one, I did a pivot. Actually, I canceled many events because I've learned. I When I went as an attendee, and I did a lot of kind of healing and questioning, and I met an expert who this woman has organized retreats for like 15 years or so, and so 20 minutes in the pool, and she gave me so much clarity, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And I pulled the plug on multiple events, and I pivoted. And so I have one in November in California, and the theme is how to be an effective leader. And it's me and another facilitator, and there's room for 6 attendees who want to improve their leadership skills and
Wow.
grow and learn. So just every single one has a different theme. And I said, once per quarter is something that is very feasible, something that is
Mhm.
very doable. And I also learned that rather than me like searching or I don't know, selling without selling, however, like filling the 6 spots, I'm not gonna do that just randomly as, oh, anybody can come. It's the people that come for help and the coaching, and it's the people that I have some kind of a relationship with already. And it could be
Right.
in my corporate job because there are many people that want to be better leaders, but it's mostly actually folks I know at this point.
Wow.
And it's I think it's working out. Like, having one per quarter, smaller scale, it makes it, I don't know, smooth.
You
I think
never know
that's
what
how I can.
you never know where the future's gonna take you though with it. I mean, it's wow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to maybe in a year or 2 doing my own, retreat, so pretty excited about that. How would someone get in touch with you? So you are a transformational coach on the side? You
So the transformational coaching, the digital, the agile coaching, that's my consulting 9 to 5.
okay,
I don't do it as part of my own company. As part of my own
gotcha.
company, so I have a logo, RALM3, and that's the website, realm3.com, and you will see all the upcoming events. I'm all over social media, so I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, and my website has links
Nice.
to all of it, the calendar link to schedule more time. But for my own business, I take on no more than 2 clients at the same time, where I do the mentorship in various ways. Like one woman I'm working with now wants to be more visible on social media, so I'm helping her with content. Another wants to write a book, and so it varies. But that's what I do. The transformation, I prefer to work with people who have done the healing already. I can help them kind of find their path,
Mhm.
but I think there are so many people that I'm connected with in my network who do the deep healing and kind of deep, let's go back to your childhood and let's come up with what exactly will fulfill you. And once
Right.
they do that, that's when they come to me. It's like, okay, I can help you get that. I can help you get there. Um, but again, I have a lot of people in my network who do various things.
Yeah.
So if I cannot help someone like through the discovery, I'm like, you're not, I'm not ready for you. You're not ready for me. I know who to send them to. So I'm like a
Wonderful.
general contractor type of a person.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, there's a vast majority of people, and I think what you're doing after they've been through that healing process is also very important.
Absolutely.
It's because I know for me, um, I went through and still I don't think I'll ever stop going through this journey, but I'm at that point where I call it the 3 step from victim to survivor to warrior. And I think at that warrior point, you're ready to tell your story. You're ready to get out there and battle for
Yeah.
people. And so I think even at this stage in my life, I still rely on people. I still
Hmm.
rely on that you talk about, having that connection with that woman. I have a person like that too who I rely on that person to be like my rock. "Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk through it. What do you think?" And, that's my release. My uh, they give me I don't know, that joy, that peace, and
Yeah.
they fill my cup, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you have that you kind of found that person, but I have so enjoyed you, and I know we're gonna talk again because there's just too much to talk about, and so
There
we're gonna
is
have to
absolutely.
yeah, we're gonna have a few more, episodes, but I will definitely put Miss Luba's information, in the bio like we always do, so you can, contact her, read her books, find her on Facebook, LinkedIn, but she's a, extraordinary human being.
Oh, thank you.
I'm already so blessed to have met her and for her to be a part of my life, so, if you can reach out to her and you need to speak to her, I'm sure she'll be available, so thank you so much for joining us for
Thank you.
another episode of Soul Hygiene. Have a wonderful night.